Not radar.
What else can I do?
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2022 Sony Marvel film Morbius, a film that is directed by Daniel Espinosa, and it stars Jared Leto, Matt Smith, Aria Arjona, Jared Harris and Tyrese Gibson. Now the film focuses on Jared Leto's character, Dr. Michael Morbius, who is suffering from a rare blood disease. He's had it his whole life, and he's quite gifted, he's a bit of a genius. He grows up to become a doctor, and he spends his whole life searching for a cure for him and his best friend, Milo, played by Matt Smith, who has the same disease. He discovers some form of a cure by getting some kind of mutation from bats, tests it on himself, turns himself into Morbius. Matt Smith's character Milo then becomes jealous. He wants this cure all for himself, doesn't realise it's a curse, which leads to a confrontation between the pair. Right, what are my thoughts on Morbius? Well, I think the first thing I want to address here is, once again, we're here again. The internet, social media, influencers, whatever you want to call it, have decided that this film is going to fail before it was ever released. I've seen the build up to the release of this for months now, and I've not really seen anything positive said about this film, and this is before anybody had actually seen it. So guess what? It comes out, and these people don't want to look like idiots, so they've all come out and said, yes, it's the worst film ever. Absolutely shocking, absolutely terrible. Oh my goodness, awful. Worst film of all time, worst superhero film of all time. And to be honest, I'm getting a little bit tired of it. How these people, decide that a film's going to fail before it even comes out. It happened earlier this year with Moonfall. Now, I'm not saying Moonfall was a good film, because it wasn't, but it was entertaining enough. Chris Stuckman's just done a video on Moonfall saying, look, turn your brain off, you'll enjoy it. That's exactly what I said in my review. Turn your brain off, you'll enjoy it. And that's exactly what I'm going to say about this film as well. Turn your brain off, and you will enjoy it. Is this an intelligent superhero film? No, it definitely isn't. You show me a superhero film that's intelligent. You show me a superhero film that in some way or other isn't bloody stupid at the very core of it. They're all silly in their own ways. Now, for me, this film is a typical Sony Marvel film. It is structured very much like the first Venom film. In fact, they're almost identical. Just rather than there being like symbiotes, it's vampires. And to be honest, I was entertained watching this film. It was nowhere near as bad as I expected it to be, but at the same time, it's not going to sit with me for a long time in regards to being memorable either. I'll be honest, I enjoyed it more than the second Venom film. I thought that one was really daft and really stupid in many ways, but entertaining enough to watch, I guess, in a lot of ways. This is very much like that. And I just think it's a shame that probably a lot of people aren't going to give this film a chance because they're being influenced by these so-called critics. And yeah, this film for me is never going to stand, in the top 10 superhero films of all time. Not even the top 20, not even the top 30. But it's an entertaining film, and I had a pretty decent time watching it, I'm not going to lie. Jared Leto doesn't seem to be able to do right for doing wrong these days. For me, he's a very, very talented actor, but it has to be the right project. I don't think there's anything wrong with his performance here in this film. It's about what you'd expect. It's brooding. It's a bit downtrodden. He's playing a character that has essentially been tortured his whole life with this rare blood disease. He's not suddenly just going to perk up and be happy and jolly. So I thought he actually pitched it pretty well for the role he was playing here. Matt Smith gets to chew all the scenery that he's in. He plays, the villainous character here, and it's exactly what you'd expect from him. And he's quite entertaining in it as well. Beyond that, everybody else is completely forgettable. They're poorly written, poorly fleshed out. Jared Harris is completely wasted as like their childhood doctor. And the two detectives that are chasing Morbius, if you like, are the worst police of all time. I mean, there's like bodies being littered all over the city by the Matt Smith character when he transforms, and they think it's Morbius. And about after like the 15th death, they start deciding to look for CCTV footage, but they don't think to do that on the first set of bodies that they find. I just found it a bit bizarre. They were like the worst detectives ever, and easily the worst thing in this film were these police detectives. They added nothing to the film, and they just were the stupidest detectives ever. So this film really is exactly what I kind of... Well, it's actually exceeded my expectations because of all the negativity surrounding it. I was expecting this to be an abysmal and a film and an abomination in every way, shape or form. And guys, it wasn't. But like I say, it's not brilliant either at the same time. It's almost like a McDonald's version of a Marvel film. Do you know what I mean? You know, a Marvel film is like a really good burger that's been made by, you know, Gordon Ramsay, like Spider-Man No Way Home, and the best Marvel films, really good burger made by Gordon Ramsay or another world-famous chef. This is the McDonald's burger version of it. You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean it's, you know, it's not enjoyable in some way, shape or form. It's just not going to stay with you. And, you know, yeah. The plot is really simplistic, and if you watch this film, you just think, well, this is like the same story as Venom. It thunders through the prologue, if you like, in regards to we don't learn enough about him. We see him a little bit when he's a child, but we don't really learn an awful lot about him. You know, he repairs this machine when he's a boy, and suddenly he grows up to be like this blood expert, and you're kind of thinking, what? How did that happen? You know, yeah, okay, he's pretty gifted, but blood grows up to be this renowned doctor, and all this kind of stuff. It's silly and it feels rushed. I think if they'd have taken their time here and really developed this character and introduced him a little bit better than they did, I think it probably would have been maybe a little bit better received. As it is, they rushed through this origin story for Morbius. And again, they've done what they did with Venom. They've turned a villainous character or they tried to turn him into a heroic character. This probably character would have been better served being introduced as a villain in one of the Spider-Man films or something. Maybe even a Venom film. I don't know. So could they handle it better? Probably. Yes, that's very clear that they could. But I had a suitably good time watching this film. I'm not going to lie. I don't think it's anything special, but I was entertained by it. I didn't think there was anything wrong with the effects. It does get a little bit CGI heavy with some of the fights now and again in the film, but I never looked at it like I looked at like the Transformers films years ago, thinking I can't tell what's going on. It's messy. I don't understand this. You can still follow the action to a large degree with the CGI and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it ain't great. It's not the best film you're going to see. It's certainly not the best Marvel film you're going to see this year or any year, but entertaining enough. Please don't believe these people that are absolutely crapping all over it, who probably haven't even seen it for the most part. You'll get what you want from this, but don't expect anything special. So I'm going to give this one a 7.5 out of 10. Let me know in the comments if you've seen it. I can understand somebody watching this if they're a real big fan of this character Morbius and maybe being a little bit disappointed. But I think, they've done a half decent job of it, but they could have done a better job too. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the review. I'll be back with more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.